Hey, Kittch. How's it going? I'm Kristen Solorzano, and I am the recipe developer and content creator behind What's the Frickin' Recipe. And it's December 1st, and I feel like December is just kind of, known for bakings. And guess what? It is National Cookie Day on Sunday, December 4th. So we're getting you ready. We're getting you ready here on Kittch for Cookie Day. And today we're going to be making Mrs. Fields chocolate oatmeal cookies. And my mom made these all the time growing up. So I'm excited to make them here with you. And there is an interesting kind of funny story that goes along with this recipe. But let's just start getting into it, right? Okay. Let me just do. Oh, also check out this feature enhancement on Kittch. You can also check out the recipe. Just go ahead and click recipe over on the right hand side and it'll bring it up. So that's all right there for you to check out. Or you can join the chef's table. I'm happy to, hang out with you. Okay. There we go. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I'm going to chop some chocolate. This is a good old Hershey milk chocolate bar. I got the king size. I am making half a batch here just because I went ahead and did some other, I made some cookies ahead of time, if I'm being honest. So just Hershey's milk chocolate. You don't need like the artisan chocolate here, like just Hershey's milk chocolate bar. And you could also do this in the food processor, but I find that when you do that, let me scoot this chocolate back over here. I find that when you do that, it kind of gets like a residual heat from the blade going round and round and round. So I like to do it by hand. So you just want like those chocolate shards that melt into the cookie once it's baked. I mean, if you want to use artisan chocolate, then go ahead, be bougie. But we're just keeping it easy. No shame in that. Okay. I have, look, see, it's already like melting on my hand. I had a bowl. Yes, I do. I have a bowl. Get my chocolate in the bowl. And I am going to chop up some walnuts. You could also use pecans if that's your jam. I do like nuts in my cookies. There we go. All right. Doesn't have to be super fine. Just a little chop. There we go. All right, cool. So I'm going to set that aside, get my cutting board out of here. Wash my hands because they're a little chocolatey. I'm so excited you're here. Welcome to my kitchen. All right. And, I hope my food processor will reach with the, nope, it's not going to, but I'm not gonna go get an extension cord right now. So I'm just gonna loop y'all over here and bring you up so you can see a little bit better. Okay, let's try that. So we are going to add, I have some rolled oats here, or just old-fashioned oats. Do not use the quick oats or the instant oats or the milled oats, obviously, because that's just, oats in its original form without being pressed. We're not going to use that. Just old-fashioned oats. And I'm going to add it to a food processor. And we're not going for like a flour consistency, but we're going for like a finer consistency than what the current state is. There we go, that. Just do a couple of pulses on high. It's so loud. Let's check it. I'm just gonna do a couple more for good measure. Ready? All right, there we go. All righty, get the top out of here. And get that out. And I'm going to go here. My blade out. Here we go. So not like, you know, like I said, not flour consistency, but just that's what we're going for. Okay, so we're gonna mix our dry ingredients first. So that is our oats. So we have our oats here, and then I have some all-purpose flour. And I have baking soda, baking powder, and a little bit of salt. My mom always cooked with salted butter. I shouldn't say cooked, I should say bake. She always baked with salted butter. So this is, you know, just need a little bit of salt, not much, because there is salt already in the butter. If you would rather cook with unsalted, then go for it. Just adjust the salt as necessary. There we go. So what this does is it just incorporates all of those leavening agents, so the baking soda and the baking powder with the flour and the oats. And that's it. We're going to set that aside for now. Anyways, I need to do some rearranging. What's up? I'm going to do some rearranging. I'm going to grab my stand mixer, get my food processor out of here. Here she comes. She's a biggin'. This was actually a wedding gift from my in-laws when my husband and I got married, and I was so excited. So this has been 9 years. All right, I'm gonna set that aside so we can mix in the mixing bowl, but then we'll just fit it when we're ready. Cool, cool. All right, mixing bowl here. Can you get in there? You're in there. Yep. Okay, good enough. All right, I have some softened butter. Shoot, I need my spatula. Here we go. And if you've baked with me before, you know to do what? Save your butter papers. I have a little plastic baggie in the fridge that I just stick them in, so it's easy to grease pots, pans when you're baking. Ultra important during the holidays. Here we go. Stick that back in. All right, and to our butter, we are adding sugar, just granulated sugar. And we're also adding light brown sugar. Here we go. And I'm going to put it on my mixer. Let's see. I'm trying to get y'all a good shot. Let me get it on here first and then I'll bring you over. So stand mixer with the paddle attachment. If you don't have something like this, then you can absolutely use just like a hand beater. That would also work. Let me see if I can. Kind of, sort of. Yeah, you're in there. You're in there. I'm gonna bring it up. There we go. And we're not going for like a super long time. We're just mixing it until it's combined. Start off slow and then we'll speed it up. It's looking good. All right, that's good for now. Scrape down the sides a little bit. All right. And we are going to add an egg. I like to crack it separately because can't tell you how many times I have gotten shells into the batter and it's like, oh shit. Here you go. Add the egg. And we're going to add some vanilla extract. So this is a heavy vanilla recipe. It is it's actually 2 tablespoons for the full recipe, but we're going halvesies right now. I know it seems like a lot, but it does make a difference. All right, and we're gonna let this go. Cream it together. Beautiful. All right, looks great. And next, I'm going to try and do this without spilling everywhere. All right, here we go. I got to move the camera. Sorry, y'all. I'll get you a look here in a second. I just know it's going to go everywhere otherwise. Usually I have this in like a plastic quart container, so then you can kind of navigate it. Thank you. I appreciate that encouragement. There we go. Get you back in there. Here we go. And then we're just barely stirring this, okay? We don't want to overmix it. So just when you notice that it's like just starting to come together, that's when we're going to pull it off. And we're going to finish the rest by hand. All right, so that looks good. You see how there's still like flour pieces and pieces of the oat? That's okay, because we're going to mix it by hand now. There we go. Alrighty, where's my spatula? There we go. So I know I was alluding to how this recipe came about. Okay, so my mom obtained this recipe, and the story goes that this woman was eating at Neiman Marcus, and she ordered a cookie and to split with her daughter. And she thought the cookies were so good, the Mrs. Field cookies. She inquired about the recipe, and the server was like, she's like, how much is if I buy the recipe for it from you? Thank you. And she was like, or the server was like, oh, $2.50. So she's like, oh, well, that's $2.50. Kind of seems like we're adding the chocolate and the nuts right now. Distracted with my story. And semi-sweet chocolate chips. I'm using Ghirardelli. So she asked for the recipe. She thought that $2.50 was a lot back then for a recipe, but she's like, you know what? Just put it on my tab. And she went about her business, and then she checked her Visa statement, and she noticed that she would charge $250 for the recipe. So she was like, what the heck? So she went back to Neiman Marcus and was like, I want my money back. And they're like, well, you know what? Like, you had the recipe for this long. You could have absolutely just shared it. You should have, you could have distributed it. Like, how do we know that you didn't do that? So she couldn't get her money back. So she made it her purpose to distribute this recipe to everyone and anyone that would take it. So the even crazier story is that entire story is entirely made up. It is 100% a lie. This recipe originated from a chain letter. That was the chain letter. Do you remember chain letters? Like back in the 90s, people would physically type up a story, distribute it on paper, mail it. They would distribute it at family gatherings, workplaces, and it would usually have like a light threat at the end, like if you don't share this with blah, 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 blah. But it's crazy because this is how my mom got it. It was a chain letter recipe because everyone thought that they were getting like this exclusive Mrs. Fields recipe, but in reality, like the recipe has never been sold. So I thought it was kind of funny. Just it's like the OG like share button, right? Or the I would argue that it might be the first viral recipe in my mind. I don't know. Just a thought. Okay. So we have our cookies. Oh my gosh. You see all those chocolate nuggets? So good. Okay. Let me grab my sheet pan. All right. Bring y'all down here. So sheet pan fitted with parchment paper. I'm using a cookie scoop. I loved helping my mom as a kid just so I can. I felt so cool. All right, and we're just gonna roll it with our hands and place it on the cookie sheet. There we go. So this is a pretty big cookie scoop. Like that's pretty massive of a cookie. So I'm gonna spread them out quite a bit and only bake like 6 per sheet because these do spread quite a bit here. There we go. So we got 3, we got a couple more to go. That story is also a nice reminder to not, you know, believe everything you see on the internet, even though this originated from a paper chain letter. I will say the recipe is delicious. I'll give them that. And it is pretty close. If you've had like a Mrs. Fields cookie, it is pretty damn close. Okay. So there's our cookies. So these are going to go in at 350 degrees for about like 10 to 12 minutes. There we go. Let me rinse my hands real quick. Hold, please. Oh, let me set the timer. You know, I always forget. Some burnt ass cookies. There we go. I cooked some ahead of time. This batch actually does not have nuts in them because I forgot, if I'm being honest. But check that out. Doesn't that look delicious? Here we go. Woo! Let's do the. Oh, baby. You see that? Like that chocolate morsel pull. Get this. There we go. Ooh. That with some coffee or some milk or, you know, hot chocolate. Season's greetings. Heck yeah. Let me take a bite here. Move some stuff out of the way. Get it all over my hands. It's so chocolatey. This just tastes like childhood to me. It's so good. The oats and the nuts in there, actually, they absolutely add like a textural element to it. You're not quite sure what it is. It's so good. And especially like when you eat them just when they're cooled, you still have that melty chocolate goodness. It's so good, y'all. And it actually does freeze really well. So if you only want to cook off like a dozen or a couple dozen. Oh my gosh, excuse me. You can scoop them out into the cookie balls and then keep them in the fridge for like an hour, and then actually a couple hours, and then pre-portion them in like a Ziploc bag and freeze them that way. So then when you're ready to bake them, you just take them out of the freezer and you have take and bake cookies, which is perfect for the holidays if you're asking me. Or National Cookie Day on Sunday. You know, just a thought. All right, Kittch. Well, that's it. I really appreciate you being here. And I will say that Kittch has some pretty fun things coming up this month of December. So I hope to see you in another stream here in my kitchen. I definitely have chocolate all over my face, don't I? Nice. You can follow me here on Kittch, or you can check me out on social media. I am at WTFIN Recipe on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And I just want to say thanks. Thanks for coming to my kitchen and hanging out. I'll catch you next time. Bye.